What would you say is something, as far as pushing for an MMT future, what are some things that people can do on the ground floor outside of electoralism?
As far as pushing for an MMT future is concerned, well, MMT is the present. So, but yes, in terms of using an understanding of the monetary system in order to push for social and environmental justice, I just think everybody should do whatever they can do. What we've done in Adelaide, we had a conference in Adelaide in January that Stephanie was at, amongst other people, and Bill Mitchell was here too. Andres Bernal, who's in the AOC camp, he was here, and out of that, we've set up in Adelaide a group called the Sustainable Prosperity Action Group. We bought about 300 copies of Stephanie's book, and wherever possible, we've been to see and handed copies to politicians, journalists, opinion formers. We've had a variety of events over time. We were, I think, instrumental in helping to get that Tasmanian job guarantee motion passed. We're trying to do the same thing in South Australia and in Canberra, which is where our federal government is as well. So get involved in something. There's lots of, and you can almost pick an aspect of the, sunrise in the US. There's all sorts of progressive campaigns, and we can all get involved in one way or another. Meantime, as far as MMT is concerned, if you don't feel comfortable about discussing it with your friends because you don't feel well enough informed, then if you can afford it, get a copy of Stephanie's book, which is very readable, really easy to get through, and read through that. And if you can't afford it, then Warren's book's sort of a decade old now, but Google Warren Mosler, and his book will introduce you to MMT as well, and that's freely available on the internet. And then just talk to people. And when politicians, when economists say things that don't make any sense, like there's going to be a fiscal crisis, the government's going to be, Social Security is going to go bankrupt in the US. No, it's not. That can't ever happen. It doesn't matter who says it. I don't care if it's a professor of economics with a Nobel Prize. If they say that kind of thing, they're just wrong. And so whenever anybody says anything wrong, I like to encourage people not to be rude, because if you're too aggressive with your comments, then I'm not worried about you being rude to Professor somebody or other, but it puts off third parties. There are other people. So I always, if I'm interacting with let's call them a neoliberal economist on Twitter or somewhere else, I always try, I don't always manage, but I always try to appear calm and quiet and polite and just a bit disappointed that economist gets things wrong, because that often annoys them and they bite back. And then if there is a third party out there, you're the one that appears to be, as you are,
you're the civil one.
That's right. And they appear to be they're the one that appears to be the lunatic.
No, that's the way to do it, man. Be like, look, I'm just, you have the same piece of paper I do, colleague. I'm disappointed that you're just swinging and missing, and yet you're going to go to another conference and people are going to listen to you. I find that off-putting, and then they get really pissed off at you.
I was lucky enough to spend 2 weeks following Stephanie around while she was here to various occasions, and we met politicians and journalists and all sorts of other people, and I saw her give talks, and I interviewed her a couple of times in front of people. And I'm quite long in the tooth, but you never stop learning. And it was like a masterclass in how to communicate. She is a brilliant communicator.
She really is. I never got to interview her myself, but I was, in studio with some of the interviews she did with the Jimmy Dore show. And the way she explains it, you just listen to it and you're like, wow, that totally makes sense. And I feel like my head just got lifted. Someone just scratched my brain a little bit. But then the thing is, she's so good at it that a week later, if I had to regurgitate that to someone else, I'd be like, shit, you got to go listen to her. You know what I mean?
I'm like that a bit too. We can do it to an extent, you know. We can anchor and adjust. We learn from other people, and we can do some of what they do. And we're on a team. We don't all have to agree with each other, but the basics are so simple that anyone who understands, that's got any sense, is going to agree with us. So I just think I'm angry about a lot of these things. I'm really angry, but it doesn't pay to come over as Mr. Angry all the time. You want to appear as we are, the calm, sensible people that have got some kind of idea about what we should do in the future. And then, you know, if you can't remember something or don't know, then it's fine to refer them to Stephanie or Stephanie's book. And if you've got a friend who doesn't quite get it or is reluctant, but is, you know, is of goodwill, and you can afford it, go and buy them a copy of Stephanie's book and give it to them. There's a Christmas present.
There you go.
And say we'll chat about this after Christmas, but have a look at this book now. And
or read and pass. I've done that. Have you ever done that? Are you a read and pass guy? I've done that where I'm like, this book's great. I'm passing it to you now. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your